Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys That Magic. It's me, it's Steven, and today I'm joined by Shane. Shane, say hello.
What's up, nerds?
What is up, nerds? Indeed, I'm super excited. Been waiting for this one. I wanted to see what you were doing to this, but we are upgrading the Jeskai Striker deck. This is going to be Shane's $100 upgrade to that deck. If you do want to see the backup commander, Elsha Threefold Master, definitely go check out our Patreon. Link in the description down below, where we post all the backup commanders and kind of upgrade them there. But Shane, you excited?
I'm very excited. This is fun. I normally don't play this style of Spellslinger-ish deck, but I'm very excited.
Yeah, Spellslinger is definitely a style that I like to play, so I was really interested to see the direction you were going to go with it. So before we get into it too much, why don't you go ahead and talk to me about Shiko and Narset Unified?
Well, I will right now. They are a blue, a red, and a white for a 4/4 Human Spirit Dragon. They have Flying and Vigilance, and they have Flurry, a new mechanic that says whenever you cast your second spell each turn, copy that spell if it targets a permanent or a player, and you may choose new targets for the copy. If you don't copy a spell this way, draw a card. So it's kind of cool. Either way, I'm either going to copy it or I'm going to draw a card. Big fan because I heard card draw wins games. And I think Flurry as a whole, really, really cool. I'm a big fan of this mechanic. It's just encouraging you to play Magic.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in a Spellslinger style deck like Jeskai is kind of presenting right here, being able to cast all your spells and just kind of get upside from it, whether you're just drawing a card or copying, is going to be really good. And we always say it, just like you said, card draw wins games no matter what you say. So
Yeah.
yeah. But sweet. Let's go ahead and get into it. I kind of see how you structured your slides here, so we will talk about some new cards from the set first. All right.
Yeah. I like to do what Hunter, like, Hunter kind of introduced me to this thing where he goes through the entire new set, obviously because new cards that have this new mechanic will most likely go in the deck. So I've been doing the same thing. The first thing I saw was there are a couple cards that I needed to put in this deck. First one being Corey Steel Cutter for one in a red. It's a or artifact equipment. It says equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has trample and haste. And then it also has Flurry, the new mechanic. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 white monk creature token with prowess. You may attach this equipment to it. Otherwise, it's equip cost of 1 in a red. Dude, so strong. The whole being able to attach it immediately, that is just power creep in, I think, every single way for artifact equipments. And the fact that this is going to be making things that have prowess for us, it gets bigger, it gets trampled, it gets hate. Like, I think this card is nuts in this deck.
Yeah, this is pretty cool just because you're making a 1/1 that this just attaches to immediately, then it's a 2/2, and then it's got haste and trample. That's terrifying.
Yeah, and prowess. Don't forget that.
Okay.
The next one I'm throwing in is Frostcliff Siege. One, a blue and a red for an enchantment. It says, as this enchantment enters the battlefield, choose Jeskai or a Teamer. Jeskai says, whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. And Teamer says, creatures you control get +1/+0 and have trample and haste. I think both modes are very relevant. I think it might depend on the circumstance here, but card draw wins games, like I said, and trample haste bigger creatures wins games. So I think this card is going to go insane in the deck as well.
Yeah, I threw this into my Teamer upgrade deck, and this was a pretty fun one. Just being able to draw cards, and I think the second one is actually kind of my favorite. Trample and haste is nothing to scoff at, especially when you have these 1/1 prowess little things just running around,
Yeah.
just causing havoc and chaos.
Yes, sir. And they get bigger. Like this enchantment's going to pull a lot of weight, I think. And then lastly, of the new set, I'm throwing in Taigum Master Opportunist. One in a blue for a 2/2 human monk. They have Flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, copy it, then exile the spell you cast with 4 time counters on it. If it doesn't have Suspend, it gains Suspend. It's a little interesting because you're going to be exiling away the original copy, and you're going to get it a little later as like a delayed effect. But you are going to get your copy regardless because you're copying it and you're casting that immediately. So I think this is really cool because it's kind of just giving you 2 for the price of 1 and fantastic in the deck.
So you're telling me you get 2 spells for the price of 1?
Yeah, and when the time counters come off of that suspend card, you're casting that. Well, that's going to help for your flurry or prowess or whatever next turn.
Not to mention, if you have Pico on the field, you get 2 copies?
A lot of shenanigans are going to happen.
You're slinging some spells, and I don't like where this is going.
Yes, you do.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to some other cards you're adding, not from the set. I see 3 creatures.
Yes. Out of the box, this deck, I mean, it is a Spellslinger deck, and I really did like all the spells that were already in it. So you're gonna notice that the rest of this upgrade, it's not too heavy in adding actual instants or sorceries because they're already in the deck and I like them. But I wanted to add in more creatures that just buffed everything up and took our game to the next level. So I'm throwing in Narset Enlightened Exile. It's one, a blue, a red, and a white for a 3/4 human monk. It says creatures you control have prowess. It also says whenever it attacks, exile target non-creature, non-land card with mana value less than Narset's power from your graveyard. Copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. I think everything this card does is fantastic for the deck. It's also the fact that it's saying you get to cast the copy this time. That's pretty big for this too.
Yeah, this card goes nuts in this deck for sure. And then just basically being able to give all your non-prowess creatures prowess, including Narset, just to make sure that its power might not be 3. You might it might get aggressive, and I'm slightly terrified already.
I think it might get pretty aggressive, yeah. I'm also adding in Hanada, Dawn's Crown. One, a blue, a red, and a white for a 4/4. Kieran Spirit. It's got flying, it's got trample. It says spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each target. And then it also says spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast for each target. So it's a little bit of the lopsidedness of giving you a benefit, kind of hurting your opponents a little bit. And then flying trample, that's like a body, dude. That's good.
Yeah, that's I knew you were going to try and sneak some kind of tax stacks piece into this deck.
It's not that bad.
Sure.
Make sure you don't have anything that targets more than one thing, because then you're really in trouble.
Yeah.
And then the last creature I'm throwing in is Bria Riptide Rogue. I love this little otter rogue. It's 2, a blue and a red for a 3/3 otter rogue. It's got prowess. It says other creatures you control have prowess. And it also says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. Once again, I think every single piece on this card is insane for the deck. Especially that last piece. Dude, you're no more blocking. You're bummed.
I mean, yeah, really doubling down on making sure your creatures can get as big as possible with the prowess is going to hurt. And yeah, here we are.
Here we are.
All right, well, after that terrifying creature package, let's go ahead and move on to some other spells. What do we got?
Like I said, I liked the instant sorcery spell package that was already in the deck. I think it's really good for an upgrade. So I just wanted to add a little bit. I think it's a little bit better. I'm putting in Jeska's Will, 2 and a red for a sorcery. Choose one. If you control your commander, as you cast the spell, choose both. Add a red for each card in a target opponent's hand. And or exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play it at the end of the turn. This is just a good card. I don't need to probably talk too much about it. It's really good. Put it in the deck.
Yeah, Jessica's Will is a staple that should be in any deck that runs red, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
But I think, maybe it should be called Jeskai's Will for this deck.
It's kind of weird saying Jessica's and Jeskai's. Yeah, it's weird, but good card, good. It's going on my deck. And then the other one I'm throwing in is Sorcerer's Class. It is a blue and a red for a enchantment class. It says, when the Sorcerer's Class enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. At level 2, you can pay another blue and a red. Creatures you control have tap, add a blue or a red. Spend this mana only to cast instant or sorcery spells, or to gain a class level. And then at level 3, it's 3, a blue and a red. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, this spell deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of instant or sorcery spells you've cast this turn. Oh, that is heavy. That could be a lot of damage, and that could drain the board. I mean, this card might make you a problem. I'm going to say it.
Yeah, once you get to level 3, it's pretty crazy. I think level 2 is my favorite part, though, just because it feels like in this deck you're pumping out so many dorks, and just being able to use them to tap to add mana just really fixes a lot of your problems.
It really does, dude. I like this card.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to some bonding lands.
Hey, you said it. I think all these lands should be in every single precon going forward. And until they are, I'm going to add them to every single precon going forward. So I'm putting in Sea of Clouds, Training Center, and Spectator Seating. They all come in untapped as long as you have 2 or more opponents. So in a late game, you might not have them come in untapped. But for the most part, they should always come in untapped for you. And then they tap for their respective colors. So Clouds is a white and a blue, Center is a blue and a red, and Seating is a red and a white. You could say that I'm just throwing in good lands, and you'd be right. But I do honestly think they should come in every precon because these are commander lands, so they're going in my deck.
Yeah, well, you for sure will be putting these into your precon decks every time. I doubt Wizards will be printing these in a precon at all.
You
Uh,
never know, dude.
Prove me wrong, Watsy. Prove me wrong, please. But yeah, no, I love this. I guess question for the viewers at home: if you have these in your decks when you play them, do you thank your opponents for being there? I know
They
we
really
do.
should because we always do. We thank every single person for being there.
Yeah. But Shane, that looks like all the ads. Yeah.
That's it, man. That's short, sweet. The deck was already pretty humming, so wanted to add a little bit on top to,
Yeah.
push it
Just
over the edge.
add a little spice.
Exactly.
Yeah. But with a little spice means we do also have to remove some cards. We are in a 100 card format, and we can't just show up with 112 cards in our deck. So we do
Well, you
have to
could, but
remove. I mean, you could. You'd be cheating. Be a big poopy cheater. Nobody wants that. So let's go ahead and move on to the removals. We'll go ahead and start with the creatures.
yep. You saw me add a couple creatures. Uh, I just think that I didn't want to have too much of a heavy in there. I really liked what I added, and the point of this deck is to just attack in with a bunch of crazy prowess people. So the first one I'm cutting is Villamaka's Lorehold. It's 5, a red and a white for a 5/5 Elder Dragon. It's got flying, vigilance, haste. Whenever this guy attacks, look at the top 7 cards in your library. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value less than or equal to this guy's power from among them without paying their mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Really good ability, pretty decent body. It's just heavy. And my whole thing was when I looked at this deck, I wanted it to be cheap, low to the ground, casted a bunch of spells, swinging in with tons of prowess guys. So you'll see a theme here. I kind of just chopped the top of a lot of this deck out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same way with the decks I build. I always cut like the high CMC cards. Plus, your deck came pretty stacked with a bunch of things that make you tiny little 1/1s, and you have enough like give your stuff prowess that I don't really think you need it.
Honestly, like these cards are good and they're in the precon for a reason, but I tend to not really play with the big heavy things, and they seem to just always sit in my hand a little bit. So
Yeah, plus
you'll
let's
see I
be
cut a couple of
honest.
them.
You're going to have this
What?
in your hand before turn 1. Always.
I'm gonna draw it and be like, oh, I'll play that eventually. The next one I'm cutting is Voracious Bibliophile. 3 and a blue for a 3/3 dragon. It's got flying vigilance. Whenever you cast a spell with 1 or more targets, draw that many cards. Solid. Super solid. Card draw wins games, like I've said over and over and over. I added a lot of cards that will help you do this. I don't honestly think in the long run I'll be missing this, but if I do bite my tongue later, feel free to not cut this card. Completely understandable. It was like my last cut. I'm just like, I gotta make room, so I did cut it. Don't kill me for it. Just leave it in your build if you don't want to cut it. Totally understandable.
I mean, I will say for this card at least, in the precon deck, there weren't too many things that say target multiple things. So the
It's true.
chances of you having this on the field and then also having those specific cards in your hand, I mean, with everything you added, you don't really need this.
I mean, like you said too, like this will always at least draw you one because you're probably targeting one thing, but I don't know. I just didn't it didn't mesh with me. If it vibes with you, don't cut it. And then the last one I'm going to be cutting is Transcendent Dragon. 4 and 2 blue for a 4/3 dragon. It's got flash, it's got flying. When this creature enters, if it was cast, counter target spell. If that spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. Then you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Seems good. I think that this card is not bad, but once again, it's heavy, and for that much for a counter, like I don't want to keep up that much mana. I know that it's got a big payoff, but like I want to be spending my mana, and I don't know. I feel like this is not it.
Yeah, it's one of those like ceiling really high, floor really low. Just having to wait and hope to God that on the turn that you decide to hold up 6 mana, your opponent plays something that's worth countering. It's too much of a gamble.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the instant department of the removal section. I see 3 of them.
Yeah. Like I said, I kind of cut the top end of things. I'm cutting Magma Opus, 6 in a blue and a red. For an instant, it says it deals 4 damage divided as you choose among any number of targets. Tap 2 target permanents. Create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. Draw 2 cards. Then it has an ability that you can pay a blue and a red or another blue and a red. Discard this card, create a treasure token. So if you don't want to spend it for its huge mana cost, you can just pitch it and get a treasure token. I guess that's kind of like the saving grace, but the whole point for me is I want to be casting multiples, and I feel like at that CMC, I'm probably not casting multiples. This probably will be my only spell per turn, and in this style of deck, I don't know. It does a lot of cool things, but really heavy, so I'm cutting it.
Yeah, Magma Opus, it reads really good, but I think that with the power creep we've seen in recent years, that it's not really a good card anymore.
Yeah. A lot of these, I'm gonna say it, they seem like Precon cards. Weird.
Yeah, I think we'll see a mass printing of this in Spellslinger decks moving forward.
The next one I'm gonna be cutting is Sublime Epiphany. It is a 4 and 2 blue for an instant that says choose one or more. Counter target spell, counter target activated or triggered ability, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, and or target player draws a card. Lots of good abilities. It says choose one or more. I I do like all these abilities, but once again, like it just feels weird holding up that much mana. Like I don't know. My counters, that's a really expensive counter spell, and you'll be probably doing more things than just the counter spelling part, but I want my things to be cheaper. I want to cast a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that. I just Sublime Epiphany for me is probably one of my favorite counter spells in Magic, and to be honest with you, it's probably top 10 for me.
You love this card, huh?
I love Sublime Epiphany. It is such a solid card just because of all the modes you can choose from. 6 mana is a lot to invest and hold up, but this is one of those 6 mana counters that I'd probably keep just to go ahead and make sure that I have multiple options. But yeah, I mean, I listen. This is one of those situations that if I was building it, I'd probably keep it. But obviously, in the way your deck's trying to go and run, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's true. And if you're out there and you're building like Steven's building, once again, this is not an end all be all. You might keep it. Keep it. I love it.
All right, everybody at home, let's get ready to turn our head sideways real quick, or maybe our fancy editor can make it so we don't have to.
Yeah, hopefully they'll do that. This is a sideways card. It is expansion and explosion. The first part of it, or I guess one half of it, you could pay a blue and a red or a blue and a red. It's an instant. Copy target instant or sorcery spell with mana value 4 or less. You may choose targets for the copy. And then the other half of it is X and 2 blue and 2 red instant. It says it deals X damage to any target. Target player draws X cards. They seem relevant and they seem good, but I was digging into this deck and I didn't want to have too many copies effects, even though I know this is Spellslinger, just because copying doesn't work with, for one, Storm. It doesn't work with things that say you need to cast something, because you never cast copies. So I don't know. I guess I shouldn't say never, but for the most part, you don't cast copies. So I'll cut these out of here. Plus the other side, really heavy, because you want to dump into that, and I don't know. I just didn't like it ultimately. I cut it. If you like it, don't cut it.
Yeah, explosion's really weird. I always liked the side because like obviously if you go like an infinite mana route, but it only kills one person, but then you could technically copy it.
Yeah.
But you know, again, teach their own. The expansion is definitely the winner of this card for this deck.
Yeah. But hey, once again, you're playing a combo route. If you're going down that road, keep it in like Steven would, because Steven is the combo player.
I am the combo player. I haven't done it in a while. Might be bringing it back. You never know.
We might be bringing it back.
Moving on to a fun card that might work good in a combo deck. Looks like an enchantment got removed.
Yeah, this was tough for me because I loved this enchantment. Big fan of it. It's going to go in another deck of mine. Tempest Technique, 3 and a white. It's an enchantment aura. It has Storm, which is insane. It says enchant creature you control. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control. So that's really good. I'm guessing that you'll be casting a bunch of stuff, playing this, getting a bunch of copies of it. The creature gets huge. And ultimately, the reason why, again, that I cut this thing is that Storm acts really weird with the whole prowess and flurry and like, because you're never going to be casting, or like, the copies that you're making aren't counting towards Storm. And then when you do the Storm, those copies aren't going to count. So it's a really weird interaction. And I know it sounds stupid and it's not straightforward in my opinion. Like, my first thought was, oh my God, this is going to go insane in the deck. And it really doesn't. It's a little weird. I cut it just because it just didn't play the way I wanted to play. But I'll tell you right now, this is going in so many of my aura decks.
Yeah, this is a really cool one. I think that it can be really good. I just think that the biggest issue that is it's 4 mana. Then if you're really trying to storm off, especially in this deck, I think that you need a ton of mana. So this is like a super late game card. So this is more of like a finisher more than anything. But even then, even with all that mana, you still need a bunch of spells that don't cost a lot because you really want to try and cast as much as possible. So I think it goes back to kind of what we said before is, high ceiling, low floor.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And me cutting it is not me saying it's a bad card because I love this card. I just don't think it plays well with this deck.
All right, Shane, let's move on to the land cuts now. I see 4 lands that I don't have anything nice to say about.
I don't either. I added 3, I'm cutting 4, so that means I'm bringing the land count down by 1. Out of the box, the Precon has 37. I'm going down to 36. That's just the number I like.
You're pulling
The first
a
one I'm
Steven.
cutting, hey, no, you go way lower. Don't try to lump me in with you.
That's true.
The first one I'm cutting is Ash Barrens. It's just a land that taps for a colorless. Got basic land cycling for 1. It's a Precon card. It's not good in my opinion. I'm cutting it. And then I'm cutting all 3 of the temples that come in this deck. So I always think the temples get cut immediately and they get changed with the bond lands. So Temple of Enlightenment, Temple of Epiphany, and Temple of Triumph, they're all into the battlefield tapped always. You scry 1 when they enter, and then they tap for the respective colors. Enlightened is a white and a blue, Epiphany is a blue and a red, and Triumph is a red and a white. They're just slow. They're just precon cards. Like, I never like these cards.
Yeah, the temples are really bad. I think especially with the addition of the surveil lands, I think people are definitely going towards those more.
Oh, yeah.
Especially since you can search for them when you're cracking like, fetches, or if you're searching for certain things that don't say basic card. I think that's an easy swap, especially if you're doing the bond lands. Those will come in virtually always untapped unless you're really
true.
just killing your opponents.
True. Get them out.
Get them out. But yeah, it looks like that's going to do it. 11 cards. Sweet, simple, easy to the point.
Yeah, that's what happens when the deck kind of is cool out of the box.
All right, my friend. Well, the question I'm about to ask you, you were given $100 for this upgrade. Where are we at stat-wise at the time of recording?
Well, like you said, at the time of recording, we're sitting at $95.87. Some of that is pre-order prices, so I'm hoping they'll drop, but not too bad.
Yeah, good job. Keeping the budget under $100, saving the people some money. I like it. But sweet. Well, that'll pretty much just about do it. All right, well, before I get into our spiel towards the end, Shane, what are final thoughts on Jeskai Striker, Shiko, and Narset Unified?
I think it's fun. I think the flurry mechanic is going to be pretty good. Caring about second spells, never a bad thing. Drawing cards, never a bad thing. Copying, never bad. Like, it has a lot going for it. I think that you're going to be that little spell slinger. I think that you're going to try to limit yourself to possibly just the 2, because after that, you're probably not getting much more for it unless you have prowess, obviously. But I don't know. I think that it's just going to be an interesting take on the whole spell slinger, because we're not trying to go infinite, at least in my opinion. We're just trying to get nice little chunks in every turn. So I think it's cool.
All right. I like it. I'm here for it. Terrified to play against it. Can't wait for the pre-con battle. But
Me
yeah,
too, man.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you stayed this long, definitely go check out the description down below. You can do a bunch of stuff while you're down there. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you're staying in tune with all the fun stuff we're putting out. We're going to have the $300 upgrades coming out soon as well. In the description, you'll see the deck list for this on Moxfield. Go ahead and check that out so you can see all the fun stuff Shane added. Also, while you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment. Let Shane know how he did. Did you like what he added? Did you not like what he added? What should he have put in? We always look at the comments to see if we can go ahead and change some stuff up, especially for the $300 where we have a little bit more of a budget. And then don't forget to check us out on all of our other social media accounts. All those links are in the description down below. But on the screen right now are all of our beautiful patrons. Thank you so much for providing a little bit more. We could not do this without you. But a special shout out to our indestructible tier.
Brian Gagniella.
Daryl Tripp.
Demarion Turner.
Dr. Rome.
Jimmy Ward.
Kevo.
Larry Killian.
Thrifty PSGR.
And Tim K.
You guys are awesome. Again, we appreciate everything. And until the next video, hope you guys have a good rest of your day.
Bye bye.